pain away.
Hey, KBLA delegation. Happy Black History
Is that
Month.
Erica?
That's Erica.
We celebrate our culture, our community, and our contributions daily. This year, as we we're excited about
All
our
right.
annual
That's all right. I'm like,
1980 Black History Month Luncheon, honoring comedy greats. On Thursday, February 26th at the Grammy Museum in downtown LA, we're toasting D.L. Hughley,
you
Melanie
actually have a little bit of speech. You need to run.
Monell, Dion Cole, and Martin Lawrence with a surprise
I'm
guest
about to do the
appearance.
first
A
segment.
limited
and then
number
you're
of
on the
individual
second
tickets for
segment.
the luncheon remain. So now would be a good time to head to KBLA1580.com to secure one for yourself. That's KBLA1580.com. A little laughter goes a long way, especially in times like these. So come, join us for our annual KBLA Talk 1580 Black History Month Luncheon, Thursday, February 26th at the Grammy Museum. Again, tickets are available right now at KBLA1580.com.
Well, I hang around my boy. He's been married for 6 years. Videotaped his wedding day, never watched it. Now and every day he watch it every day, but he watch it in reverse. Because he said he loves seeing himself take that ring back off of that finger. Walking back down that aisle, just waving at her ugly mother down the church. Getting back in the limo, back at the bachelor party. Look how happy I was.
KBLA Talk 1580 thanks LA City Council members Curran D. Price Jr. and Heather Hutt for being the presenting sponsors at this year's Black History Month Luncheon. Honoring excellence, resilience, and achievement, we're KBLA Talk 1580.
The blackness. Keep on. Never say die. Keep on. Blackness. Keep on. Never say die. Keep on. Blackness. Never say die. Never say die. Keep on. Never say die. Blackness. Never say die. All of the rest.
In the midst of sorrow, you can see up when looking down. A brighter day tomorrow will bring. You hear the voice of reason telling you this can never be done. No matter how hard reality seems, just hold on to your dreams, yeah.
You are listening to and streaming A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580. I'm Dr. Nii-Quartelai Quartey, your host and White House correspondent. I'm in touch, and so you be in touch. Follow me on all the social media platforms at Dr. Nii-Quartelai. Just type in Dr. Nii-Q, DRNIIQ, and there I am, fresh for you to follow. Also, be sure to download the KBLA app to listen to us live or on demand, or guess what? You can just tell Alexa to play KBLA Talk 1580, and there we are for your listening pleasure. Last but not least, subscribe to our YouTube channel on KBLA Talk 1580. That way you can get your little notification anytime we go on air, and we look forward to rocking with you that way. All right. Let me just say it's time for our community calendar. And, I actually keep a little running note of what's happening in communities across the country, stuff that I plan to go to, stuff that I want to go to. But more importantly, I think it's important to lift up some of the work that is afoot across the country, some of the organizing work. There's a lot going on in the world. And I think we can do a lot of things in community. and that includes supporting folks that are operating in community. And so, you ain't got to go far, right? But a little bit goes a long way in terms of whatever support that you can offer. And so I want to make sure that folks pull up to the Gathering Spot LA on Wednesday, February 11th from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. It's called the Black Tech Link. It's the second annual event where business, law, and tech intersect. It is the LA All-Star Weekend edition, and a lot of familiar names and voices to our KBLA Talk 1580 audience, including Terrence J. Evans, who's no stranger to A More Perfect Union. He is on quite frequently. He's a partner over at Dwayne Morris, and he's president of the California Lawyers Association. Terrence J. Evans will be in the house along with Nianza Shaw. She's the founder and principal attorney of her firm, the Shaw Law Firm, and so many other folks are going to be there. It's going to be moderated by Jabari K. Smith, who's a sports and entertainment journalist, and you can go to bizlawtechla2026.eventbrite.com to register. All right. And so, look, we got to look out for one another. Now it's time for your national news roundup. It's time for you to decide the good, bad, and ugly headlines of the day. And kicking us off, you hear about this? Governor Wes Moore in the news. I should say President Trump dragging Wes Moore into the news with an invitation that was withdrawn. An invitation was withdrawn to the only sitting Black governor in the United States. That's what I'm talking about. And, you know, the Griot is reporting on this. Look, this morning, I had a chance to learn a little bit about what was afoot. The governor has his hands full already because remember that redistricting effort in Maryland? Well, he's trying to get that over the finish line. And you have Senator Arthur Ellis of Maryland, who is denying a vote. He's the Senate president. He will not allow a vote on those redistricting maps in Maryland. And so there are a lot of folks, a lot of lawmakers, a lot of folks in and around Maryland that are reaching out to Senator Ellis's office in this 11th hour to demand a vote, putting some pressure on him. Aside from that, you have Trump, who has decided that he's going to invite the National Governors Association to dinner, but that invitation doesn't apply to Wes Moore. I wonder why. The governor of Oklahoma, who is the current chair of the National Governors Association, put out a letter of support for Wes Moore, and he said that this would not be an official National Governors Association event. Now, a lot of us wondering, so does that mean that you're going to go or you're not going to go? Unclear. But what we're clear about is the disrespect to the only sitting Black governor here in the United States, who is the vice chair of the National Governors Association. And in June, he will become the chair of the National Governors Association. So at some point or another, Trump's going to have to get over it and engage with the leader of this bipartisan organization of governors. When we come forward, we are switching gears. I'm really delighted to welcome my next guest to the show. Her name is Erica Alexis. And for anybody who is familiar with the rebuild effort in Altadena, you may be familiar with the work of Erica Alexis, also known as the Lady Builder, who's on a mission to build vertical developments in Africa, but she's also on a mission to make sure that Altadena gets rebuilt the right way. More with her when we come forward. You're listening to and streaming A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580.
You're listening to A More Perfect Union on KBLA.
This conversation out here sounds so good. I might as well just But this.
My perfect day has sand, salt water, and friends. But my moderate to severe plaque psoriasis can take me out to learn more.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
Imagine a Los Angeles where everyone can thrive, where communities have access to the resources they need to succeed. That's the vision of Detours Mentoring Group, Inc. They're dedicated to improving life in LA County by providing educational support, employment assistance, and spaces for community engagement. By 2050, they want LA to be the best place to connect, create, learn, live, and play. They're working toward an education system that's well-resourced and culturally responsive, becoming a hub for artists and innovators, and making sure everyone has access to healthy food, quality healthcare, and safe housing. It's about building a future where we all have the chance to succeed. We invite you to learn more about their mission and get involved with Detours Mentoring Group, Inc. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
The California Crusader newspaper would like to thank all of our subscribers for their support throughout the years, proudly serving the South Los Angeles and South Bay areas for more than 40 years. The California Crusader is a multicultural, black-owned, adjudicated newspaper that focuses on providing newsworthy information to the people in our community. We're constantly looking for ways to assist businesses in our community to connect with our subscribers. We provide low-cost, effective ways to promote your business with our reasonable and affordable advertising rates. You can participate by suggesting, sharing, and submitting your stories on the California Crusader newspaper Community Share Facebook group page, or visit our website at cal-cruise-news.com. That's calcruisenews.com. Then click on the Submit Now button located on the top right corner of the homepage, or text CCN to 42828. Again, text CCN to 42828. The California Crusader newspaper, working together to build a better community for our future. Subscribe today.
We have no permanent friends or permanent enemies. Only permanent interests as we effort to build a more perfect union.
You are listening to and streaming A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580. I'm Dr. Nii-Quartelai Quartey, and really delighted to welcome back to the show Erica Alexis. She's also known as the Lady Builder, and she is on a mission. Let me just say, you are one of the hardest working women in development.
Thank you.
And in real estate here in California. You are founder and CEO of Bridgeline Development and Construction, a vertically integrated firm specializing in new construction and ADUs, accessory dwelling units. Mm-hmm. And you got a pretty extensive portfolio there. You're also the current board chair and president of Beacon LA, which is a nonprofit leading Altadena's post-fire rebuild with a 5-year recovery vision. 5-year recovery vision. That is impressive. That is impressive because, and it's honest, because it's going to take a minute. And 5 years is really just putting something on it, right? You know, I'm sure there's a 10-year and a 20-year, right? But let's just start with the 5, right? And so first things first, Alexis, welcome, Erica Alexis, welcome to the show, and give us an update on the state of the wildfire recovery in Altadena.
Yes, definitely. Would love to start with that. So thank you for that introduction. Yes, we have been busy at work in Altadena, and, you know, just pulling off before I got here with Epic LA stats. Just a little reminder for those, we have seen 5,936 parcels destroyed, a total of 6,746 units, including garages for Altadena. And right now we are seeing 1,018 issued permits. That doesn't mean they're building. We only have 626 in construction, and we have 7 already completed. So we have a long way to go. This is the first year down, but historically speaking, you usually see the ramp up in the years 2 to 4. And so, you know, the city has been doing much, much better. I built in LA County previous to the fires, and we would wait an average of 6 to 12 months to be out of the building process. We're seeing, you know, a lot of builders out of the process of planning and building in just 94 days. So they are doing a great job with fire recovery. I will give them that. I know in the beginning, it takes time to ramp up, but I will say that. And what was unique also is I see a lot of ADUs, you mentioned, in construction as well. There's 124 ADUs that have issued permits and 74 in construction and 3 completed. So if we look at it in a whole, you could say we're behind, or you could just say that we're right there about to take off. And I think a realistic picture is saying that we're about to take off because there's been a lot in this year. So, that's where we are currently. And I'm really glad that we've had the resources that we've had in Altadena. There are several organizations that have been helping out with the trauma, that have been helping out with the gaps. As much as I compliment these things, of course, they're also exacerbated and still needed. But there is some, rewarding to do for the tight knit that Altadena has been. They're really a close community. So,
Erica, I want to zero in on this building process because it's dominated the headlines. Mayor Bass and a number of members of the LA County Board of Supervisors have been hit multiple times saying, hey, they're not processing these permits fast enough. We're not building fast enough. I think as Rick Caruso was trying to decide whether or not he was going to jump in the race for mayor or not, I think a lot of folks were giving him a strong look in part because, he is this major builder, right? He's this real estate tycoon. And, if anybody knows anything about construction and real estate development, I think there are a lot of people that assume that Rick Caruso, the developer for the Grove and Americana that he may be right for that particular area of work. But what I'm hearing from you and what so many of our leaders, learners, and listeners may be hearing in a different way right now is that this 6 to 12 month building process that officials have been able to condense that into about less than 100 days.
Yes.
And I want to give you an opportunity to underscore how major that is. Because if that didn't happen, then we wouldn't be at the precipice of what you were stating earlier about being in the position to really to really take off in terms of the rebuild efforts in the area.
Yes. And you phrased it perfectly. I think the focus, it's easy to get tied on the progress, right? But what I challenge Rick Caruso and anybody else is to actually come and see what's happening in the community. And so the reason that this year this is actually progressive is because there is a trauma period. And in Altadena, as you know, they were faced with several hindrances. Most of their assets were in the property. So without insurance, it's burned down. What do you do? A lot of them were underinsured. There's a lot of things that took place this year. A lot of, organizations that came back to support this year that contributed to that. And so when we look at something like, oh, yeah, we're going to step in with the building process, it's not really the building process because LA County has implemented a lot of technical assistance. And when I say that, I mean like a lot of automation, right? So with the original plan process, it was one plan checker looking. If they felt good that day, they would process you. But now we're starting to see a system. They also instilled peer groups, so they were having, architects come in and help assist. So Plan Check was really expedited, and I don't think that it gets enough credit. I really, really think that, Barger and Bass are pushing for these things and they're implemented, and that's why we're seeing the progress of these permits. Another thing that I found interesting in the data is they had a selection that's only specific to Altadena, and it's owner's delay, right? So for some reason, the permits are delayed because of the owner, right? And just in my personal experience in the accounts that I work with, I've had clients that have gone through the whole planning process, we're ready to submit, and then they want a whole new house. They don't want to rebuild the same house they had before, but they don't get that recollection until 3 months down the process, right? So I think when we're talking about how long is it taking to build, and we get these, Trump stepping in because he's going to help with permit processing, I think it's very important for us to look at the layers because it's a very unique disaster. It's a very unique disaster. And there's things that, take place that people don't think about. They're just set on these numbers. Why are there only, 626 in construction in Altadena, but Malibu has this? Let's look deeper. Because LA County, I want to say LA County, Senator Sasha, and a lot of other individuals have been pushing to fix that part. But we really need to fix the gap that is coming and that is present now.
I mean, I really appreciate you orienting us to the layers that in some cases represent barriers. But in other cases, it represents sort of the need for time and for patience. And I know, for anybody who's lost a structure, anybody who's lost a business, has lost a home, waiting one more day is a day too much. But again, I just want to lift up this owner delay piece of the puzzle because at least when we read the headlines, we assume that any delay that is occurring is because the government isn't moving fast enough. And so what I'm hearing from you as somebody on the ground is that there are cases, plenty of cases, where the government is moving things along pretty swiftly, but it's owners themselves who, for a whole wide range of reasons, may account for that delay.
Yes, and that's exactly what I'm saying. And I think a lot of attention is on the government, but I think if more attention was paid to the actual people and the actual hindrances, I really think that these next 2 to 4 years can be really successful. One of the biggest things is that, the affordability of building. We have to look at, yes, tariffs increase, but we also saw, building codes have changed, and we also have seen a serious increase in materials. And so the average cost to build, which was previously an easy $250, $300 a square foot just to build a structure, has easily gone up to $350 to $550 just to build a 1,500 square foot home. And we're talking about that could range, including finishes to turnkey, that could, go all the way up to $750. And so I think, yes, we paid a lot of attention to the government in the first year. But I think right now we need to see what is really going on and why these lots are really selling.
Yeah. And, lots of headlines about speculators that have been purchasing up large swaths of land, particularly foreign investors who've been shopping around. When we come forward, I want to give you an opportunity to offer us the lay of the land there in terms of what is happening and not happening. On this show, we love to separate the fact from the fiction. I think we got the right one. Also, you've mentioned Trump a couple times. And I want to give you an opportunity to really just sort of lay it out, what positive or negative impacts have you seen from the Trump administration from a FEMA perspective, but also as it relates to tariffs. This haphazard policy that this president has around tariffs has real life, real world implications. And there's some people that look at it very narrowly as, it's a negotiating tactic. He's just, bringing other world leaders to the table to negotiate a better deal for America. Well, as you know and I know, there are a number of American businesses, small businesses, and consumers that are paying the price for that. I want to give you a chance to react to all of that and more when we come forward. You're listening to and streaming A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580. More with Erica Alexis, a.k.a. the Lady Builder. She's founder and CEO of Bridgeline Development and Construction. She's also the board chair and president of Beacon LA, a nonprofit that is leading the way when it comes to Altadena's post-fire rebuild.
The audience is listening, thought-provoking, eye-opening, heart-rendering. This is where authentic voices meet powerful discussions on culture, community, and change. This is where Black voices matter. He's breaking boundaries, amplifying diverse perspectives, and tackling the issues that matter most to you. You're inside A More Perfect Union with Dr. Nii-Quartelai Quartey on KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Amber Payton with BIN News Now. Members of Congress can now review unredacted portions of more than 3 million Jeffrey Epstein files at the Justice Department.
At least I believe that there were tons of completely unnecessary redactions.
Democratic Congressman Jamie Raskin called some past redactions baffling. However, about 2.5 million pages remained fully withheld. President Trump plans to exclude Democratic governors from an upcoming White House meeting, breaking with tradition, according to the National Governors Association. A separate bipartisan dinner is planned, but Black Democratic Maryland Governor Wes Moore and Colorado Governor Jared Polis are reportedly not invited. And Baltimore's Black Mayor Brandon Scott is proposing a plan to lower property taxes by expanding tax credits and reducing the effective residential tax rate. The proposal also includes changes to the tax sale system to help homeowners avoid losing their homes over unpaid taxes. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Delays in Calabasas on that South 101, backing up from Lost Hills all the way to Topanga Canyon, where an earlier crash has just wrapped up. It's tough on the 405 northbound in West LA. Delays are pushing back from the 10, taking you all the way to Nordoff and North Hills. And right in that, on the southbound side of the 405 in North Hills, a crash just before Roscoe. It's been blocking the right lane, keeping things kind of crowded away from Nordoff.
The Crohn's and Colitis Foundation has been at the forefront of inflammatory bowel disease research and care for over 50 years. Learn more about research, education, and support at Crohn'sColitisFoundation.org.
Is this the title? This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
The winning streak for the UCLA women's basketball team, the number 2 team in the country, is up to 17. Before Sunday's Super Bowl, UCLA held on for a 69-66 win at number 8 Michigan. Bruin center Lauren Betts had 16 points, 16 rebounds, and 3 block shots. Sunday's victory was the 9th win for the Bruins this season over a top 25 team. We're 4 days away from the start of NBA All-Star Weekend in Inglewood. The festivities jump off Friday night with the NBA's HBCU Classic. The men's basketball teams from Hampton and North Carolina A&T will meet up at the Forum. 8 p.m. tip-off. More on the HBCU Classic throughout the week here on KBLA. The All-Star Game is Sunday at the Intuit Dome. Lakers star Luka Doncic has been ruled out of tonight's home game against Oklahoma City. This is the 3rd straight game the NBA's leading scorer will be sidelined with a hamstring injury. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
What's up? What's up? What's up?
You got to laugh the pain away.
Hey, KBLA delegation, happy Black History Month. Around here, we celebrate our culture, our community, and our contributions daily. But this year, as we observe the 100th anniversary of Black History Month celebrations, we're excited about our annual KBLA Talk 1580 Black History Month Luncheon, honoring comedy greats. On Thursday, February 26th at the Grammy Museum in downtown LA, we're toasting D.L. Hughley, Melanie Camacho, Earthquake, Munell, Dion Cole, and Martin Lawrence with a surprise guest appearance. A limited number of individual tickets for the luncheon remain, so now would be a good time to head to KBLA1580.com to secure one for yourself. That's KBLA1580.com. A little laughter goes a long way, especially in times like these. So come, join us for our annual KBLA Talk 1580 Black History Month Luncheon, Thursday, February 26th at the Grammy Museum. Again, tickets are available right now at KBLA1580.com.
Well, I hang around my boy. He's been married for 6 years. Videotaping his wedding day, never watched it. Now and every day he watch it every day, but he watch it in reverse. Because he said he loves seeing himself take that ring back off of that finger. Walking back down that aisle, just waving at her ugly mother down the church. Getting back in the limo, back at the bachelor party. Look how happy I was.
KBLA Talk 1580 thanks LA City Council members Curran D. Price Jr. and Heather Hutt for being the presenting sponsors at this year's Black History Month luncheon. Honoring excellence, resilience, and achievement, we're KBLA Talk 1580.
They call it progress, but progress has a price. Land once held in black hands, taken, stolen, erased. Acres paved into highways, fields burned. Homes replaced by parking lots and broken promises. Every deed lost was a dream deferred. We talk about millionaires, but what about the millionaires that never were? The farmers whose soil was seized. The families who watched their inheritance disappear. The wealth that never had a chance to grow because its roots were ripped from the ground. They took the land, but never the legacy, because the soil remembers, and so do we. Every story matters. Our mission is to collect, preserve, and amplify these stories. If this is part of your family's history, visit blacklandlost.org/share your story and help bring us closer to justice.
National News The Consequence. Informed opinion. And analysis beyond the headlines. You're listening to A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk
1580. Ey, Titi me preguntó si tengo muchas novias. Muchas novias. Hoy tengo a una, mañana a otra. Ey. Pero no hay boda. Titi me preguntó si tengo muchas novias. Muchas novias. Hoy tengo a una, mañana a otra. Me las voy a llevar a todas pa' un VIP. Ey, saluden a Titi, vamos a tirarnos un selfie. Say cheese, ey, que sonrían las que un VIP.
Raise your hand if you have been jamming a Bad Bunny for the last 30 days. Yeah. I've been trying to learn the songs and dances. Not on camera, though. But we're in our Bad Bunny era. And we're in good company. You're listening to A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580. I'm joined with Erica Alexis, also known as the Lady Builder. She is on the front lines of the LA wildfire recovery, particularly its impacts on the community in Altadena. She is CEO and founder of Bridgeline Development and Construction, and she's also the board chair and president of Beacon LA. Beacon LA, it's a nonprofit that's leading Altadena's post-fire rebuild with a 5-year recovery vision, and she's checking in with us and helping us to understand the state of things. Of course, you know that we have Conversations Live, Altadena Rising, hosted by my friend and brother, James Farr, every single weekend here on KBLA Talk 1580. It's a part of our station's commitment to not allow the people of Altadena to take this walk alone. We're going to walk right next to you. We're going to lock arms with you. And so whether it's this weekend or it's during our weekday programming, we have Altadena top of mind. And in that spirit, welcome back to the show, Erica.
Thank you.
And so before the break, we were talking a little bit about Trump. Mm-hmm. And I want to give you an opportunity as somebody who is on the ground, as somebody that is working with survivors of the Eaton fire in their rebuild efforts. Are there ways in which this administration is delivering? Are there ways in which they're not delivering? Is there more that they could be doing right now in this moment?
Yeah, that's a very interesting question. I think when I read the executive order of Trump coming to Altadena in regards to the permits, the first thought was you're going in the wrong direction. And I think the $2 billion in funding that Karen Bass is asking for is actually what is needed, because what the federal government cannot see is we are now living on those FEMA resources. There are a lot of elders that have passed away due to the stress of this trauma that own homes. There's also a lot of renters that had little to no assistance. And there are homeowners that are becoming homeless because they use their funds to live on. So if we're saying we're going too slow, I think the funding and should really be directed, or the attention should really be directed towards the gaps. And specifically, if he wants to talk about federal aid, one option for that is the schools.
Mm-hmm.
The ones that are still standing, the ones that are gone. The ones that are still standing, they lost a lot of attendance, and these schools are funded by that, and so he can bring a lot to looking at what is the education going to look like in the next few years for Altadena and the people that are still there. And it's not looking good. So I think his direction and his focus should just be turned a little bit to where it's needed. Like I mentioned before, that was why I was, telling you, we're fine on the permit side. We have, over 2,000 that are going to be, that are being submitted, for permits. That's fine. The focus needs to be on assistance for the people to rebuild. I really pride Altadena because they have not been waiting for federal funding, but it's at that time where it's a dire need.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of organizations, we have, Project Passion, we have Altadena Rising, we have all of these, with Beacon, we partnered with Action Altadena, we held all these, fairs, all these fundraisers, we did all these vigils, everything. But I think that, it's really time for the federal government to step in and really release aid. And what does aid look like? I think it looks like, giving the gap financing for what they're not able to cover on their mortgages, what they're not able to cover in their construction, what they, lost through design, which they didn't anticipate on paying for, just common things. Like there's still a large population that need basic necessities, basic toiletries, basic food. People that are getting ticketed living in RVs need to stop getting ticketed. There are bigger issues that we're seeing than, just permits. And so, part of the reason why we founded Beacon LA in last March, is because we saw a big need and we saw a big crisis that we tried to be proactive about. And we said, wait a minute, everybody's focused on this immediate, right? But what about year 2 or 3 when they run out of funding, which is happening now? They don't have enough to build. Where's that gap being covered? And what happens when, they don't have contractors which they can trust, which has happened, right? So Beacon LA last year, we started with education, primarily with the seniors, of what should be listed in a contract to protect this, right? The other thing that we started is a builders fair where we vetted the contractors. We had 50 vendors in our first, go round, and I believe the same in the second, where they were saying we don't even know where to go to start. So we brought designers and builders to them that were already in the community. Now we're taking it a step further, listening to the community and saying, hey, we're learning that construction is hard, but dealing with trauma is hard. Put them together. You might not make it to the building process, right? And so we actually established a cohort with the beautiful Center of Lindustry. They actually funded us. Very excited about that partnership because they really believe that through this process, contractors and clients have to be supported through where we're going, which is the building process. So I'm really excited that we are able to offer courses to contractors to deal with people in trauma. We're able to, basically supply them with the financing that they need to support these projects. And then we also offer alternatives through Build Notes LA of discounted products and materials. You mentioned that, Trump is saying all this tariff stuff. So how do we protect our community? We discount those products 40 to 60% for home survivors, right? And that was created to prevent the materials being a reason why construction costs can go up. So it's kind of like we have, yes, we have missions like I think Legacyland has good, care management. Eaton Fire Collaborative has good care management. We are taking care of the building side. So instead of, like you mentioned, Rick Caruso, he's a great builder. He could probably build 2,000 of these homes, within a year. But we're not really looking for that. We're looking for how can the people of the community rebuild and stay.
Mm-hmm. It's that rebuild and stay part for me. I just want to double click on that because there have been a number of headlines around speculators, some of them foreign, coming into the area, buying up large swaths of land. For folks who don't understand the ins and outs like you do of how this happens, right? It seems to me that you have survivors that are hanging on to that land by the skin of their teeth. A lot of folks don't understand that right now a lot of these Altadena homeowners are being expected to pay whatever the rent is wherever they're able to live, in addition to paying the mortgage on the burnt up house or the burnt up business, right? In addition to having to cover cost around any sort of design, any sort of area of the permitting process, right? That's a lot of money.
A lot in a year. A lot in a year. And it's actually very detrimental. And you ask somebody that's already been traumatized from losing, and then you ask them to deal with that trauma day by day trying to survive. So how it usually works, because a lot of people are mentioning, oh, Edison is giving upfront, funds for people that don't want to pursue with the lawsuit. Great move on their part. It's only $100,000 or $200,000. You can't do anything with that, right? For you to move on with your life, right? And if we're one of those people, which are a lot of people that are saying, I barely have, a place to go. This $100,000 is what I need to survive. Bye. There goes the land. Here comes the speculators, right? So it's not really a fair advantage. I believe, LA County did something very interesting in the beginning, and I've never seen this done. And I thought it was very brilliant on their part. They held off developers coming into the neighborhood for 6 months, okay? And I believe when they were still getting stabilized with the SBA loans and the FEMA, they asked for an extension of 2 more months, and they granted it. Whatever that was, we either have to do that or we have to get creative with development. I understand that there's, a lot of talks against, affordable housing and rezoning and things like that. It's going to happen because the community is slipping away. So I've been challenging everyone, and I've been actually thinking about this myself. We have to build a new way of development. We cannot go with the old way of you can't afford your land and I come in and take it. Developers, how can you partner with land as the equity, build together, and either give them the option to refinance and live in the home, or they could sell it together and get more, bang for their buck. You have to think of creative ways like that. You just can't think of the standard way, or else it's going to be the same thing in history.
Erica, I've got to ask you this question since you brought up Southern California Edison. We've been tracking the Wildfire Recovery Fund, and there are a number of folks that I have spoken to both on air and off air who have been a little disappointed about that Wildfire Recovery Fund. Folks saying that basically it's a fund that has offered them pennies on the dollar. Pennies on the dollar.
Yep.
In some cases for homes that have been in their families for generations.
Yep.
It's pennies on the dollar in exchange for signing away their right to sue in perpetuity. And, you are working very closely with survivors of the Eaton Fire each and every day. Is there any part of you that thinks that Edison's approach to this Wildfire Recovery Fund is really just laying the groundwork for developers to swoop in and take over Altadena?
I haven't thought as much to that. However, there's one thing that I've always been saying since the beginning, and that is they give you this money, don't think they're not going to want it back, right? And so I've always been an advocate, even though, very early on, that if we're going to underground, put an extra conduit in there, for, energy efficiency, some solar, So I think if we really think about like smart building, there's ways to build microgrids, which they don't want to see, but there are ways that we can go around Edison, and there are a few companies, but I don't know their names, but I think that with Edison, we have to be careful knowing that they're coming back. I also, and this is, I'll just say this, but I also heard that 2 of the 3 water companies are also going bankrupt. So when we talk about infrastructure, and, Barger keeps saying we need to focus on infrastructure, I think we need to rethink how we think about electricity and water, especially for that fire area. And I think that this is, the golden slate. There's nothing there for us to, Trump, if you want to come in, build those federal dollars to actually establish an infrastructure that's going to last more than 100 years. So, I think aside from the development piece, that could be it. But I think that Edison is just really trying to protect themselves. And I know that there was a fund established for this incident, and it is pennies on the dollars, and it is disrespectful. And I do think that this beginning of just go away is lessening what they have to pay later, and they understand that people are in a dire situation. So it could benefit the developers, but I honestly think it's how do we wiggle out of this so we don't go bankrupt.
You're listening to and streaming A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580. More with Erica Alexis, a.k.a. the Lady Builder, in our remaining moments.
Striving to make America a nation as good as its promise. This is A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
Did you know about 1 in 3 people with plaque psoriasis may also develop psoriatic arthritis, which causes joint pain, stiffness, and swelling? Does this sound like you? Listen to what it sounds like to be a million miles away. Tremfya guselkumab, taken by injection, is a prescription medicine for adults with moderate to severe plaque psoriasis who may benefit from taking injections or pills or phototherapy, and for adults with active psoriatic arthritis. Serious allergic reactions and increased risk of infections and liver problems may occur. Before treatment, your doctor should check you for infections and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor if you have an infection, flu-like symptoms, or if you need a vaccine. Imagine being a million miles away. Explore what's possible. Ask your doctor about Tremfya. Visit Tremfya.com or call 1-800-526-7736.
With the new IHOP value menu, $6 is all it takes to go to your happy place, where stacks of pancakes with bacon and eggs are just $6 every day. French toast, sausage, and eggs are, you guessed it, $6. And fluffy omelets come with a side of pancakes and only cost $6. Go to your happy plates every day at IHOP. $7 in some locations. Available every day for a limited time at participating restaurants in the U.S. Hours may vary. No substitutions. Not valid with other discounts or promotions. Prices may vary.
Honey, that flu keeping you up? Did you take NyQuil Intense Flu?
Nah, I got this. Okay, I don't got this.
Yeah, you need NyQuil Intense Flu.
Undo your flu with NyQuil Intense Flu. NyQuil Intense Flu provides powerful relief of your flu symptoms so you can sleep.
You do got this.
NyQuil Intense Flu. The nighttime sniffling, aching fever. Best sleep with the flu medicine. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580 reminds you that we keep us safe. Every girl deserves a chance to shine. That's the belief behind Forgiving for Living, Inc. Since 1999, this organization has been empowering at-risk girls ages 13 to 18, helping them overcome behavioral and mental health challenges. Founder Wendy Gladney's personal journey inspired the mission to give girls hope and purpose through the power of forgiveness. Through their ambassador program, workshops, and annual conference, Forgiving for Living has touched over 3,000 young lives, providing mentoring, life skills, training, and tools for building self-esteem and confidence. You can make a difference. Visit forgivingforliving.org to donate, volunteer, become a mentor, or find help for a young girl in need. Forgiving for Living, Inc., building brighter futures for young girls. Visit forgivingforliving.org today. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Notable journalists, industry leaders, lawmakers, change makers, tastemakers, and you, working to build a more perfect union on KBLA Talk 1580.
You are listening to and streaming A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580. I'm Dr. Nii-Quartelai, and she is Erica Alexis, a.k.a. the Lady Builder. If you don't know, you should know. She's the founder and CEO of Bridgeline Development and Construction. She's also the board chair and president of Beacon LA. It's a nonprofit leading Altadena's post-fire rebuild with a 5-year recovery vision. During the break, Erica Alexis.
Mm-hmm. I go by both.
I don't know why I want to call you Alexis.
Everybody
Erica
does
Alexis.
It. Everyone does
right? During the break, we were talking about just this moment.
Mm-hmm.
And I think what people have a hankering for in this moment. I think people have a hankering for some radical imagination.
Yes.
I think people are so underwhelmed, disappointed, uninspired by the status quo.
Mm-hmm.
And anyone who comes off as if they are reading some carefully crafted talking points or their responses to questions are the poll-tested responses only, I think we feel that. We feel that. And I think this wildfire recovery, it really offers us a unique opportunity to engage in some radical imagination about what smart neighborhoods can look like, what it might look like for the people of Altadena to return to a smarter neighborhood, what it might look like for them to return to a micro energy grid, what it might look like for them to rebuild and engage with builders and financiers in a way that's not exploitive.
Yep.
And so in our remaining minutes, I want to give you an opportunity to cook a little bit and share with us from your viewpoint, what's the kind of radical imagination, what's the kind of shot in the arm that we need in this moment as we're on the precipice of what could be an extraordinary opportunity to supercharge our recovery?
I would say if we get into the world of imagination, one is partnership. And like you mentioned, contractors, developers to be used as a partner instead of, somebody coming in. But that's also partnered with policy. So, we have all these policies around building. I'll give you a radical one. Let's say density bonus. Altadena people don't want density. Developers want to build highest and best use to help with the living crisis. If they came together, hey, this is zoned, for X, maybe 50 units, but we can make, the county, we can make a consideration. If you want to go up to 100 units, you not only have to allocate a certain percentage to affordable, but you have to also, allocate a certain amount of equity to Altadena residents that have been here longer than 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
That's radical. Microgrid, undergrounding, electrical, making it self-sufficient, 0 to none, will lead the community off of Edison so that they could retrieve their funds and not have to pay it back at any time, maybe 10 years later. I think radical is, definitely all of these, community organizations that are all, doing the same thing, collectively coming together and under one umbrella. Also larger organizations coming in for those same fields, if it's donating, if it's, contract, whatever it is, combining those efforts and doing it together. I think that one thing that they've taught us in Altadena is when you do things together, you have a greater impact.
That's right. Look, there's an African proverb that says, if you want to go far, go together. If you want to go fast, go alone.
Yes.
I want to go far. I don't know about you. My thanks to Erica Alexis, a.k.a. the Lady Builder, who is on the ground, on the front lines, fighting for what's right, fighting for the people of Altadena's right to return.
Yes.
Their right to return.
Legacy.
We thank you for your work and your witness. We'll have to leave it there. My thanks to the entire village that helps us produce a more perfect union each and every day. Our executive producer, Tavis Smiley. Our sound engineer, Brother Andy. And to our show producers, Faraji and Art, and to each and every one of you, all of our leaders, learners, and listeners, we love you. We curate this show every day with you in mind. Remember, don't panic, organize. Do what you can from where you are with what you have, but by all means, do something. I'm Dr. Nii-Quartelai Quartey, and you've been listening to and streaming A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580.
Me la voy a llevar a todas pa' un VIP, ey. Saluden a Titi, vamos a tirar un selfie. Say cheese, ey. Que sonrían las que ya les metían. Un VIP, ey. Saluden a Titi, vamos a tirar un selfie. Say cheese, que sonrían las que ya se olvidaron de mí.
Oye, muchacho, el diablo azaroso.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Amber Payton with BIN News Now. Florida lawmakers are debating affordability this session. Democratic Policy Chair Kelly Skidmore says her proposal to create a national catastrophic risk pool could lower insurance premiums by up to 30%.
Republican Party Chairman Senator Joe Gruters is pushing a